A terrible virus broke free from a laboratory, and now all animals and plants on Earth are mutating at a horrifying speed. You've been trying to find the solution, but got trapped in the laboratory where it had all started instead. There are 3 doors you can escape through, but behind the first one, there's a bunch of aggressive flesh-eating cacti. The second door hides hundreds of poisonous bees. And the third door prevents an attack of fire-spitting dragon-like monsters. Which door can lead you to freedom? You can get out of there alive if you choose the first door. Even though the cacti eat flesh, they're still plants and can't move, so you can easily get around them. You've been kidnapped by an insane scientist who's going to test his new protective cream on you. After covering you with this lotion, he offers you to choose one of 3 containers where he'll then throw you. The first container is filled with radioactive waste. In the second container, there's an acid that can eat even through metal. And the third one is filled with lava from the largest volcano on Earth that erupted a year ago. Which container should you choose? Pick the container with lava. If the volcano erupted a year ago, the lava must be already solid. Jessica, Lauren, and Matthew met at a business conference. All of them presented themselves as wealthy, successful entrepreneurs. Look at these people's hands attentively and try to figure out which of them is a real millionaire. Matthew seems to be wearing a Versace watch. But look, the name of the brand is written incorrectly, so it's fake. Lauren is wearing tons of jewelry, but take a closer look. There are lots of scratches on her bracelets. It's not real gold. The accessories are simply gilded. So the real millionaire is Jessica with her Tiffany bracelet. A very famous painting disappeared from a museum. Later, the police managed to find it, but there was a problem. They found not 1, but 3 paintings. Only one of them is original, the others are just copies. Can you help the police figure out which is the original painting? It's the one with the brown frame. Take a look. All the frames in the museum are made in the same style. Now, take a good look at these prisoners. Which one is in no danger? Rats do bite humans and they can spread diseases. Bees can also be dangerous, especially if you're allergic to them. Meanwhile, toads don't pose any threat to humans, so the third prisoner is safe. Take a look at these prisoners. Who do you think is more likely to survive? Flames can cause serious injuries. And if the rope burns, the consequences will be terrible. So the first prisoner is definitely in danger. The second prisoner is forced to inhale toxic gases. It can't be good for his health. But the third prisoner can turn her body vertically, knock those sharp nails away with her feet, and clear her way to freedom. Look at this picture and try to understand what's wrong here. Pay attention to the smallest details. The school bus doesn't have a door. How about this image? Can you spot anything weird here? Look at the clock. It's 7 past 10, so it's too late both for sunrise and sunset. Then what is that glowing disc sitting low in the sky? Now, look at these animals on the screen. A cat, a camel, a cheetah, a chicken, a crocodile, and a pig. Which animal doesn't belong here? The pig is the odd one out. It's the only animal whose name doesn't start with the letter C. Mr. Carter, a rich man who collected antiques, asked Detective Morris to visit him. When the detective arrived, the collector said that he had just got a precious statuette. But he needed to go away on business for a week, and he was afraid someone would break into his house. The statuette was insured, but the man was still worried. Detective Morris had some other urgent things to do, but he promised to come back in the evening to figure out the solution. But when he arrived several hours later, Mr. Carter told him in despair that he had driven his sister to the doctor and had been away for an hour or so. But when he came back, the statuette was gone. Detective Morris didn't believe the collector. Why? When he left the house in the afternoon, he noticed an empty plastic bottle lying in front of the right part of the gate. Look, it's still there. But for a car to drive through, both parts of the gate have to be open. This means that Mr. Carter lied about leaving his home by car. A renowned chemist disappeared right from his lab. There was no evidence except a piece of paper lying on his desk. The names of 5 elements were scrawled across it hastily: nickel, carbon, oxygen, lanthanum, and sulfur. The guard reported that 3 people had visited the chemist that day: his sister, Laura, his colleague, Nicholas, and his wife, Tessa. The criminal was arrested immediately. Who was it? The list of chemicals is a clue. Their abbreviations spelled out the name Nicholas. Someone stole the principal's money. When the police came to investigate, they questioned the most likely suspects. The PE teacher said that he had had a break. The history teacher was having a lesson, and the music teacher said she had felt unwell and had gone home early. Can you figure out who the thief is? The music teacher is the thief.
Oh, no.
Look, she has gloves in her bag, although it's summer. Suspicious. Mr. White, a rich businessman, disappeared right from his bedroom, but he managed to leave a note. It read, the 1st of July, the 4th of January, the 1st of December, the 8th of February. The police questioned the people who had been in the house at that time. Judy, Mr. White's wife, said that she didn't know anything because she had been away visiting her parents. Logan, Mr. White's secretary, told the police he'd been working on the report for his boss and hadn't left his study. And Rose, Mr. White's daughter, answered that she had guests and they hadn't left her room. Who knows something about Mr. White's disappearance? The one behind Mr. White's disappearance is his wife. The 1st of July means the letter J, the 4th of January, U, the 1st of December, D, and the 8th of February, Y. Together, it's Judy. Rachel called the police early in the morning. When they arrived, she told the officers her story. She worked in a museum. The day before, she took home several ancient books because she wanted to do some research. But then a blackout happened. She lit a couple of candles and continued her work. Suddenly, she heard the doorbell ring. When she opened the door, someone in a black mask hit her on the head. When she recovered, the books had been gone. The detectives arrested the woman for misreporting. Why? If there had been a blackout, the doorbell wouldn't have been working. Private Detective Deborah was doing some shopping at the mall. Suddenly, she heard people arguing. The woman went there and saw a stressed shop assistant and several people crowding him. The man had found a smartphone and made an announcement. And now, several people claimed it was their phone. One man said the phone must have slipped from his bag. A young woman said the gadget belonged to her. And an older woman shouted it was her husband's device. That's when the phone rang. For some reason, the shop assistant handed it to Deborah. The woman glanced at the screen and immediately gave the phone to the man. How did she understand whose device it was? Deborah saw the word wife written on the screen. Look at these three people who seem to be having fun. They're hanging from a tree, but one of them is a ghost. Can you guess who it is? The woman on the left has just rolled her eyes. That's why she looks so creepy. This guy is simply wearing a mask. But unlike the others, the hair of the lady on the right ignores gravity. She must be the ghost.
Get ready to decipher the enigma.
Three women gathered at a table in a popular cafe. Their appearances seemed to reveal their financial status. Two of them looked wealthy, while one woman didn't seem to be as well off. Look at these ladies very attentively and write in the comments which of them is not actually rich. The answer might not be as obvious as it seems. The woman wearing pearls is not trying to show off her wealth. She's content with her simple, sustainable life. This suggests that she's truly rich. The second woman has extremely expensive accessories. She doesn't need a car, since she will be picked up by her driver and notified of their arrival through her Apple Watch. But the third woman is not actually rich. She doesn't have any valuable possessions, and that money falling out of her bag is actually fake. Look at these two couples lounging on the beach. There are designer bags by their side, and they're dressed in fancy swimsuits. At first glance, both couples appear to be well off, but only one of them possesses true richness. If you have already figured out which couple it is, share your ideas in the comments. The couple on the left have some fake items. If you look at them attentively, you'll notice that the logos are written incorrectly. They're also pale. Can it be because they have to work all the time and go on vacation just once a year? As for the couple on the right, their seemingly simpler yet well-maintained belongings suggest that they value quality over extravagance. And their worn luggage speaks of their many trips. Plus, they have tanned skin, which means that they can vacation much more often. A suspected criminal, Doug the Evil Man, had been bouncing around various places in the world. Interpol had been trailing him, expecting to catch him with large amounts of unaccountable cash. When they finally got their hands on the criminal, they only found sunglasses, a wallet containing about $50 American, credit cards, and some foreign loose change. They had nothing to do but let the guy go. In reality, though, Man managed to sneak a fortune right before the authorities' eyes. If you have any ideas about how he did it, share them in the comments. These foreign coins were actually extremely rare and incredibly expensive ancient coins. Detective Stanwyck came to Mr. Pennyroll's house to investigate a crime. Mr. Pennyroll claimed he had been kidnapped by bank robbers when he had arrived to open up the bank where he was the assistant manager. They made him open the safe and give them the money. They told the man to drive them to his house. They wanted to get his wife's jewelry too.
Oh my God!
While they were on the way, one of the criminals moved the money into a paper bag and threw the bank bag out of the window. When the car stopped at the red light 2 blocks later, the banker managed to escape. The detective decided to follow the route back to the bank to look for clues. At one point, Mr. Pennyroll shouted that he saw the empty bank bag, and a few minutes later, he pointed at the red light where he managed to escape. When they arrived at the bank, Detective Stanwyck arrested Mr. Pennyroll for a false report. Have you noticed a problem with the banker's story? Then tell us in the comments below. While heading back to the bank, they should not have reached the money bag before they reached the corner where Mr. Pennyroll jumped out of the car. He supposedly did that after the criminal had tossed the bag out. If this story was true, the detective and banker would have passed the corner first and the money bag next on the way back to the bank. Now, there's a truly mysterious case for you. Chelsea walked up to a parked taxi, handed the taxi driver a $20 note, and walked away. Here are the things you need to know. She's not very good with directions. $20 is too big of a tip for giving directions. The girl also has a car of her own, and it's not broken. Can you solve this mystery faster than the other Brightsiders? Leave your answer in the comments. Chelsea was lost and paid the taxi driver to take her to her destination. She followed him in her own car. Look at this picture very attentively. Can you spot a thief and explain your choice in the comments below the video? It's the woman in the brown coat with white lapels. She stands out among the crowd, as everyone else is either wearing sleeveless or short-sleeved outfits. Stephen called the police to report that his valuables were missing. When the police arrived, the man told them he had gone on a camping trip alone. He just got there and set up his tent when it started raining heavily. He hurried to get some dry firewood and left his bag with his wallet and all the documents inside the tent. When he came back, everything was gone. The police officers didn't believe Stephen and fined him for making a false call. Have you figured out how they understood that the man was lying? Tell us in the comments. Stephen said he had set up the tent before it started to rain. But then, why is there a big puddle inside? Tom vanished at around 10 p.m. on Friday in the fall. A police officer questioned his 4 friends. She suspected that one of them had something to do with the guy's disappearance. She asked each of them what they had been doing at that time. Adam said he had been choosing an outfit for a date. Daniel was getting ready for a party that was going to take place at his apartment. Sophia said she had been relaxing by doing yoga before her night shift at work. And Jake was watching birds in the park. After questioning the suspects, the police officer arrested one of Tom's friends. If you know who she detained, write it in the comments. It was Jake. At 10 p.m. in the fall, it's too dark to see birds outside. Police officer James was called into a small hotel to investigate a mysterious jewelry disappearance. Emily had checked in the night before and put all her expensive diamonds in her hotel room safe. After she came back from lunch the next day, the jewelry was gone. James had 3 suspects. The receptionist said she had been out on her lunch break. The maid said another guest had checked out earlier that day, and she had been cleaning their room. Susan, another hotel guest, said that she had just woken up. One of these people is lying. If you figure out who it is, write your guess in the comments as fast as possible. It's Susan. She said she had just woken up, but look at her bed. The maid had already made it. Joan came home one evening and discovered that someone had robbed her house. When the police arrived, they went to question the neighbors. Victoria said that she had been visiting her friend who lived 2 blocks away. She came home a couple of minutes ago. Peter said that he had been ill. He only made a short trip to the pharmacy and stayed in bed after that. Nathan said that he and his wife had been preparing for a barbecue party with their friends. But it started raining heavily, and they had to cancel their plans. Help the police and write the name of the thief in the comments below. It was Victoria. It was raining, and she said she had just come home. But look! Her hair, clothes, and the umbrella, which is standing near the door, are absolutely dry. Tyler was going to his friend's place in the evening when a stranger in a black mask captured him. The next thing the guy knew, he was in a large room, locked in a cage. There were 3 levers in the wall next to the cage. If he pulled the first lever, he would let hungry lions into the cage. The second lever would flood the cage with water. And the third lever would activate a special mechanism that would make the top of the cage move down towards the bottom, crushing everyone and everything inside. Which lever should Tyler pull to survive? Share your choice in the comments. His only choice is the second lever. All the water will flow out through the bars of the cage.
Alex and Jordan are in grave danger. They both find themselves stranded on a deserted island. They've been without food or water for over 4 days now, and probably won't last too much longer. Take a look at these images. If you have any clue which one of them will get out of there alive, let us know. Jordan, the guy on the left, has a way to survive this whole thing. He's taking shelter under a coconut tree. He can simply open up the coconut and he'll have some food and water to get him by until some rescue team shows up. Matt, Zach, and Brian booked a helicopter ride for a day. As soon as they took off and were flying above the ski resort, they saw 2 ladies in danger. But since they only had 1 seat left in the helicopter, they could only help one of the girls. Take a look at them. You've got to tell us which of these ladies you think really need saving. Drop a comment below. It's the lady on the left, hanging on the top of the cliff. She can fall at any moment. The other lady can slide down the slope without her skiing poles, that's for sure. It's time to see the dentist again. Both Nan and John have appointments to get rid of their cavities. What they don't know is that a maniac criminal has kidnapped one of the dentists and is passing as him. Take a look at the images. Tell us below who you think should run out of that office ASAP. Nan is the one in danger. Look, behind there is a jar with human ears floating in some weird liquid. That guy is definitely not a real dentist. Two motorbikers are riding down the street at full speed. One of them is about to hit a crossing where a lot of school kids pass, and the other is doing tricks like putting his hands up in the air. Use your intuition here and tell us who is in real danger. It's the guy heading to the crossing. If he doesn't slow down, he'll probably hurt himself, the lady that's riding with him, and the kids. Barbara has a temperamental pit bull. It's known to attack the occasional stranger, so she makes sure to put a mouth guard on her dog. Stevie also has a pit bull who has never attacked anyone, so she usually lets him off the leash. Take a look at the pictures. Be the quickest one here to tell us your guess. Which dog poses a real threat to strangers? It's the dog without the leash, of course. Animals are too unpredictable, and just because he hasn't attacked anyone before doesn't mean he won't. Pat should be considered a national hazard. He puts himself and others in pretty dangerous situations while being completely clueless about it. In the first case, he's lighting a match while there's gasoline spilled on the floor. In the second case, he's holding a sword pointed at a young lady. Take a good look at the pictures and give your best shot guessing who's in more danger. He's in danger in the first scenario, of course, plus all the other people in the gas station. Jane was running late for her date, so she decided to blow dry her hair while she was taking a bath. Jake was so stressed from work that he decided to take a relaxing bath while finishing his work for the day. Hurry, give us your take below on who is probably going down the drain on this one. It's Jane. Her blow dryer is plugged into the source, and it's never a good idea to mix water and electronic devices, right? Jim and Andrew were taken to the hospital for an operation the same day a burglar escaped prison. They had no idea, but one of them was in a life-threatening situation. The burglar was planning on stealing all their belongings once the anesthetics kicked in. Take a look at this bizarre scenario and give us your 2 cents about this debacle. Although the doctor on the right has mud on his pants, look at the guy on the left. He is not wearing gloves. Plus, you can still see part of his name tag from his time in prison. Oh boy. Matthew and Simon are adrenaline seekers. Their favorite hobby is walking on tightropes, hanging on top of cliffs. Take a look at both images and share your guess on who is in real danger this time. It's Simon, the one on the right. Although Matthew was having a hard time to find balance, he is securely fastened. But in Simon's case, he forgot to clip himself to the rope, so if he loses balance for just one bit, he'll fall down and go boom.
Oh no!
Patricia and Lillian are also into some radical sports. They decided to go bungee jumping in New Zealand, but one of them is in grave danger. Take a look at the images and don't hesitate to share your answer with us below. Uh-oh. It looks like Patricia decided to bungee jump without shoes, and the straps around her feet can slip off any second. She could seriously hurt herself. There are two Supermen flying around town saving people, but one of them is hurting more people than helping. Take a look at the image. Stop anything else you're doing now and share your take on who's in danger here. The guy on the right, he's not a real Superman. For starters, the S on his suit is the other way around. Plus, he's got some blood on his hands. I don't even want to know why. Lily and Matt were traveling around Asia and decided to book a spa appointment. They had no idea what they were getting into, but one of them might actually be in grave danger. Take a look at the images and find the imposter before it's too late. Don't keep the answer to yourself, though. Let us know below. Lily got lucky. She just got a normal acupuncture session. But Matt is in danger. The guy put venomous snakes and spiders on top of him. That's not safe at all. Understatement.
Oh no.
Margaret left school and went straight to the ice cream truck to get herself a scoop. Right in front of the truck, there was an old man offering his ice cream to the people passing by. Judy left class earlier to meet her brother at the park. When she arrived at the park, she ran into a friend of her father. He looked very happy to see her and offered her a lollipop. Take a look at both of these pictures and hurry up to figure out who's in danger here. Do share it with us, though. None of the girls are in danger, but the guy offering a lollipop to Judy is in grave danger. There's a snake trying to coil on his legs. That's never a good sign. Sam was late for work, so he decided to take a shortcut that went through the train tracks. Becky was feeling kind of sad, so she decided to go for a walk around the same area. What they didn't know was that the new electric train didn't make any noise, and it was passing by around the same time they were crossing the tracks. Put on your detective hat and figure out who is in real danger here. It's Sam. Becky has her sunglasses on, but she can see the train coming. Sam has really dark bangs covering his eyes and is wearing headphones. He probably won't be able to detect the train is coming. Derek and Lola went out for a dinner date. They ordered food and drinks and were ready to dig in when they noticed something was off. We need you to be swift here and figure out which one of them is in real danger. Share your thoughts below. It's Derek. His soft drink looks a bit too greenish, don't you think?
Oh God.
Here's Hudson. He's a college teacher. It's the last day of the semester, so he has a bunch of paperwork in his office. Suddenly, someone turns off the electricity in the entire building. Hudson goes to the basement with generators. There he sees a turned-off switch and 3 people standing next to it. They all say they didn't touch anything, but one of them is lying. The janitor says, "The lights went out when I came here to clean up." Rebecca says, "I'm a new student. I got lost in the corridors and accidentally got here." And Nick says, "I'm a last-year graduate. I came here to find a toy owl, a souvenir I had hidden here many years ago." Who's lying? The janitor has a bucket and a mop, so he's not lying. There's a toy owl in the corner of the room, so Nick is telling the truth. Rebecca is lying. It's the end of the semester, so she can't be new at this time. One of Hudson's students, Paul, has a crush on another student named Liza. Once he got a note from her saying she liked him. So Paul decides to write her back and ask her out. Unfortunately, he doesn't remember which desk is Liza's. There are 2 possibilities. Can you guess which desk is the one he needs? If you remember, the note was written in green ink. There's a similar green pen lying on the desk on the right. So this is most likely Liza's desk. After classes, Hudson is leaving the building and faces a group of his students. They ask him to take their picture. Can you spot an odd detail in the resulting shot? This guy here has 3 hands. Liza and Paul are having fun outside during their winter break. Liza is learning how to skate on the lake, and Paul is skiing in the forest. Who's not smart? Liza. The ice on the lake is cracking, and there's no one around to help her. Unlucky Liza. Paul, meanwhile, returns to the dorm. He's starving, so he opens the fridge that he shares with his roommate Nick. Right away, Paul begins to yell at his roommate. "Nick, you stole my food again!" Nick replies, "You're a liar. I didn't." Paul says, "Well, I have proof. I took a picture of our fridge before leaving." Can you tell who's lying by just looking at these 2 images? Take a closer look. The shelves are signed. These 2 shelves are Nick's, and the other 2 Paul's. These 3 items disappeared from Paul's shelves. This means that the liar is Nick, and it's time for a new roommate. Meanwhile, Liza and Paul are having a date tonight. Apparently, the lady on the lake survived the cracking ice. But Liza's dorm is situated on the opposite side of this maze. Can you help Paul pass through this labyrinth to meet his date? Here is the only way out. The college dean, Nina, hires a handyman to transform the area around the campus. That's what she says. Your task is to put 7 benches. I will triple your paycheck if you find a way to put exactly 6 rows of benches in a straight line. Also, each row should have 3 benches in particular. Can you help the handyman accomplish this task? He should put 3 benches as the vertices of an equal triangle. 3 more benches should be put at the center of each side of triangle. And the last bench should be at the center. The handyman gets to work and goes to the storage room to grab some tools. Can you find 2 identical items? Hey, here they are. The handyman is bored, so he starts a quiz game. He keeps asking the same question to every student he meets, but each time the answer is different. Can you guess the question? The handyman's question is, "How are you doing?" Hudson's teenage daughter, Jill, failed a test. So he makes her stay at home and study instead of going to a friend's birthday party. Meanwhile, Nina's teenage daughter, Jules, got sick. So she spends the entire day in her bedroom instead of going to the movies. Both daughters come down to dinner at 7 o'clock. Which parent was deceived? Nina. Take a look at the window. It's raining heavily. Jules has wet hair and dirty water on the edges of her jeans. It means she was outside. Uh-oh, liar. The next morning, Hudson and Nina both wake up earlier to prepare breakfast for their families. Nina is making sandwiches. Meanwhile, Hudson is making eggs with bacon. Who's wrong? Hudson. Oops, he forgot to turn on the stove. Hudson is walking to work through his favorite park and sees this scene. Can you spot what's wrong in this picture? There are two suns in the sky. Uh-oh, Tatooine. Hudson arrives at his class and starts with a witty riddle. Can you tell me which part of London exists in France as well? The correct answer is the letter N. A huge drama is taking place in a diner next to the college campus. The owner of this place screams, "Where's my money? It's 30 minutes till the end of the working day." But there's no money in the cash register. 3 employees have been working today, but they swear that they haven't touched the money. They say there have been no customers today. The boss doesn't believe them. He studies the employees, trying to spot the thief. Liza is wearing a pair of stylish sunglasses and brandy clothes. Mike is also wearing some costly designer clothes and an expensive phone. Robin is wearing a regular dress and fake jewelry. Who took the money? Nobody. Take a look at the sign on the door. It says open. That means that people on the street saw the closed sign on the other side. That's why nobody entered, and the cash register remained empty. Hudson finds a secret hallway in the basement of the college building. He decides to explore it and finds an old treasure chest. But as soon as he touches it, 3 zombie pirates come out and grab him. One of them says, "Hey, we've been protecting this gold for 500 years. You can't take it." Hudson notices that something's wrong with these guys. Can you figure out what exactly? Well, they seem fake. This zombie is wearing sneakers. The second one has a phone in his pocket. And the third zombie has a price tag attached to his saber. Ah, busted. Molly is very nervous. She met a great guy online, and today they're having their first offline date. They have never seen the pictures of each other. Their date will take place in an old part of the campus at night. Molly arrives at the meeting point and sees 2 guys. The first one says, "It's a weird place for a date, but I'm glad to see you." And the second guy says, "It's me. I couldn't wait to see you. You're even more pretty than your photos." One of them is Molly's date, while the other one, a dangerous criminal. Can you guess who is who? It's the second guy who is dangerous. He mentioned photos, but Molly didn't send her online crush any pictures of herself. Therefore, the first guy is her date. Molly and her date want to go to a local nightclub, but the guard can't let them in without a password. He gives the guys a hint. "The more places I go, the less you can see. Who am I?" Darkness is the password. It's a beautiful weekend day. Nina is working in her garden. Suddenly, someone attacks her from behind and she faints. Later that day, she gets better and talks to the police. Nina suspects one of her neighbors. Some of them don't really like her. Officers question 3 suspects. Bill says, "I've been planting trees with my daughter all day long." Sabrina says, "I was just peacefully watering my gorgeous flowers and continue to do so." Luke says, "I rarely leave my house, so I don't even know this woman." Who's suspicious? Sabrina's garden hose isn't even connected to the water source. It's just lying on the ground. Therefore, her story is fake. Uh-oh. 3 friends, Kyle, Harry, and Sherry, are locked in separate cages on a deserted island in the middle of a lake. Kyle's cage has a huge ice block on top of it. There's a tank with boiled water on top of Harry's cage. Only Sherry's cage hatch is locked, and the metal padlock is pretty heavy. The key is inside Kyle's cage. Can you find a way for the 3 friends to escape? It's daytime and the weather is hot. Therefore, the ice over Kyle's cage will soon melt. He'll be able to grab the key and escape through the hatch on top of his cage. As for the boiled water, it will eventually cool down. After that, Harry will be able to escape through the hatch on top of his cage, joining Kyle. Then the 2 guys can unlock Cherry's cage. The guys are now released from their cages. They begin to look for a way to escape and come up with 3 options. They can try to drive this old car, walk to the nearest village and ask for help, or use this rowboat, which floats not far from the shore. Can you help them choose the best option? It's a deserted island in the middle of a lake, remember? The first 2 options simply make no sense. The guys use the boat and manage to reach the mainland by midnight. Luckily, they find an abandoned cabin to spend the night, but it only has 1 match. There's an oil lamp, a fireplace, and a furnace in this cabin. What should they light first? Yeah, it's the match. Woo! The next morning, Kyle wakes up early. Harry and Sherry are still sleeping. He decides to go investigate the area. Soon Kyle finds a brand new airplane. He immediately gets behind the wheel to pick up his friends and fly away from this cursed forest. But suddenly, the owner of the vehicle shows up. He pushes Kyle out of the airplane without a parachute. There's only hard ground below him, but Kyle manages to survive. How? The airplane is still on the ground. Sherry wakes up second and decides to go pick some berries for breakfast. Finds 3 bushes with different types of berries, but only one of them is safe. Can you guess which one? Let's take a look at the first bush. Although raspberries are edible, a scorpion is hiding inside the bush, so Sherry should stay away from it. The second bush has a bunch of pretty berries, but there are no animal traces around the bush, so it's probably poisonous. As for the third option, it's a simple gooseberry bush. It has some animal traces around it. It seems quite reliable. Meanwhile, Harry wakes up in the cabin. He realizes that the room is on fire and he's trapped. The smoke prevents him from seeing the windows, and the door is blocked by the fire too. The firefighters are on their way, but he needs to think quickly to survive while he's waiting for help. Harry comes up with 4 options: to stay on the ground and stay as low as possible, to get on a chair and stay close to the ceiling, to take his clothes off to stay cooler, or to hide under the desk. Can you help him figure out the best solution? Harry should stay low to the ground. That way, he'll be better protected from fumes and smoke. The locals save Harry and Sherry from the fire and imprison them in their village. But soon, they get bored and decide to offer the prisoners a chance to escape. Harry and Sherry are put on opposite sides of one room. Both friends are facing a wall. The task is to write down a number between 10,000 and 1 million on a piece of paper without knowing what the other person wrote. If the 2 numbers end up being different, Harry and Sherry will be captured forever. But if they write the same number, The locals will set them free. Unfortunately, their ears are plugged with headphones playing loud music, so they can only communicate using sign language. Also, their feet are chained to the ground, so they cannot turn around. But yet, they manage to pick the same number. Ow! There were windows on the walls, so Harry and Sherry could see each other in the reflection of the glass. They could easily communicate using sign language. Meanwhile, Kyle is traveling through the jungle on his own to find his friends. Kyle takes a look inside his filtered water bottle. Ooh, bad news. He's almost out of water. He wanders around and finds 4 sources of water: a juicy cactus, a pond with salty salt water, a clear still lake, and a silt stream. What source of water should Kyle choose? Most cactuses are toxic, so instead of fighting his thirst, Kyle will get a stomachache. Salty salt water will dehydrate him. Stagnant water from the still lake is probably infested with all kinds of bacteria. So the best choice would be the silty stream. It contains nothing that Kyle's filter water bottle can neutralize. Kyle keeps on walking. Suddenly, he spots a crocodile and freaks out. Can you see it too? The croc is over here. Kyle is trying to escape, but the jungle is full of other wild animals. He only has 2 options: to sail on a motorboat across the lake when he saw the crocodile, or to sail on a regular boat across the Shark River. Can you help him pick the best option? Kyle should choose the second option. Sharks don't inhabit waters, so it's just a cool name. Meanwhile, Harry and Sherry are walking through the mountains. They find a cave and decide to explore it. Suddenly, the ground begins to tremble and falling stones block the way out. The guys wander around and find 3 tunnels leading outside. A hungry mountain lion is waiting in the first tunnel. He hasn't eaten in 2 years. The second tunnel is infested with unknown flesh-eating insects. They love to feast on all types of mammals, including humans. And the third passage is guarded by a dangerous runaway criminal. He's ready to get rid of any witnesses, just to avoid going to prison again. Which way is more or less safe? Harry and Sherry should choose the first passage. Mountain lions cannot live for 2 years without food. Harry and Sherry keep on walking. They argue about human body capabilities. They make a deal. Harry would go to Antarctica, and Sherry would travel to the Sahara Desert. They'll both try to survive in those locations for 3 days without any shelter or clothes, but with plenty of food and water. Who has the best chance of surviving? In Antarctica, the temperatures are freezing all the time, and without any cover, Harry would turn into a snowman in less than a day. In the Sahara, on the other hand, the heat is intense only during the day. It's rather cool there during the night, and a water supply will help Sherry fight dehydration. Harry and Sherry reach the top of a mountain. Suddenly, they spot Kyle in the woods. Unfortunately, the mountain road is very confusing. There are 3 possible routes the guys can take to reach Kyle. Can you help them choose the best option? Only the third route actually leads to Kyle. Finally, Kyle, Harry, and Sherry reunite. The guys approach the harbor, hoping to find a vessel to go home. Luckily, they meet a family of 3. Each of them is ready to give the guys a ride on their own boat. Timothy says, "My boat is the best. I bought it 6 months ago and named it after my wife." His son Thomas says, "My boat is 10 years old and has never let me down." And Monica, Timothy's wife, says, "My boat is used, but I know the route better than anyone. Trust me." And only one of them is telling the truth. Can you guess who? Take a closer look at Timothy's boat. Its name is Michelle, not Monica, which means his story is a lie. Thomas lied about the age of his boat. The engraving says 1980. So the guy should say yes to Monica. Richard was working for the No Time to Lose Corporation, which was a company protecting the space and time continuum. He got an alert that 3 scientists had discovered their time machine and were traveling through time. This was a threat to the existence of humanity, so Richard had to stop them. He traveled to the first time destination, the Stone Age, to find the first scientist. Take a look at these cavemen. Which one is the time runaway? Take a look at the blonde lady on the right. She's drawing those cave paintings with red lipstick. She's definitely from the future. Richard traveled to his second time destination, the Renaissance. Take a look at the people here inside the palace. Which one is our second time runaway? Look at the artist here drawing the portrait of the Queen. He's not drawing with a brush, he's drawing with a modern click pen. He's from the future for sure. Richard traveled to his last time destination, the 1950s. Take a look at the people inside the Hollywood film studio. Who is the third time runaway? Look at the cameraman shooting the movie. One of them is holding a smartphone instead of an old camera. He's the last future man. Financial crimes investigator Detective Jonas was informed that the CEO of a technology company was stealing money from the company's accounts. So he needed to get into his computer to check the allegations. However, his office room was locked with a digital key lock. He was already sent this hint from the officials about the password. Take a look at the image. Can you figure the password out? It's 7586. You just need to count the legs of the spiders in the image. After a workout session at the gym, Leslie returned to her dorm room only to find someone had broken in there and stolen her class notes. The campus security narrowed down the suspects to 3. Bella said it wasn't her because she was at the library studying at the time. Jeremy said he was at the rehearsal with his band, playing the guitar. And Ollie said he was at a meeting with his thesis supervisor. Who's lying? It's Jeremy. He has a cast around his forefinger. He couldn't play the guitar like that. A popular sneaker company was releasing new limited edition sneakers in collaboration with Jesse's favorite celebrity. So he rushed to the store to get a pair for himself, only to find that there was only 1 pair left. Another customer was also there to get that last pair. The store owner said, "I will sell them to whomever can answer my riddle. I'm easy to lift but hard to throw. What am I?" The answer is a feather. Elijah was going to visit his girlfriend for a surprise proposal. As he was driving to the airport to catch his flight, his car broke down at a highway diner. He wanted to ask someone in the parking lot if they could give him a ride to make it to the airport on time. Which driver should he pick? The first car has a flat tire in the back. The driver can't get Elijah to the airport on time. Inside the second car, there's a thief hiding in the back seat. Pass. So he should ask the third driver. Andre was watching his favorite sports influencer, Dudester Muscles, live stream. He announced that he would give 2 free tickets to the big football game finale to the person who could answer his riddle correctly on the live chat. He said, "Look at the following list of sports on the screen carefully: golf, darts, tennis, cricket, football, badminton. Which of the following should come next? Archery, boxing, squash, gymnastics, or baseball? Can you help Andre win the tickets?" The answer is gymnastics, because it has 10 letters, and the sports are in order of how many letters they have. Take a look at the room. Can you help Detective Penelope spot the robber? He's here, hiding among the rest of the statues. He's inside the medieval armor. The giveaway is the moving eyes. The doctor on duty at the city hospital called Van Helsing's office and said a vampire had broken into their storage and stolen some blood bags. When Van Helsing arrived, he caught 3 people outside the storage room: Larry, Daisy, and Camille. Can you help him figure out who the real vampire is? Larry had red spots all over his mouth, but take a look at his hands. He's holding an empty burger package, so that must be ketchup from the burger he just ate. Camille is wearing red lipstick, and the red spots on her face are just smudges. But check out Daisy's backpack. It has red stains. The blood bags must have spilled in there. She is the real vampire. Commander Ryan was working at the space station. One day, he realized that critical equipment had been sabotaged. He was suspicious of 3 astronauts. Alex claimed he was busy conducting experiments in the lab. Jordan said he was in the living quarters resting. Mia said she was out on a spacewalk repairing an external panel. Who is the saboteur? It's Mia. Look at the space helmet she's holding under her arm. It's cracked. So she is lying because she couldn't be out spacewalking wearing that. At a grand ball, a valuable pearl necklace vanished. Hostess Evelyn spotted 3 guests near her bedroom door during the event: Vanessa, Charlie, and Lydia. Who stole the necklace? The necklace thief is Charlie. Look at the buttons of his tuxedo. They are each a pearl. He must have broken the necklace chain and replaced his button with the pearls to smuggle them out without getting noticed. Ava was an antique collector. She went to a clock shop to buy an old wall clock to add to her collection. There were 3 clocks on display, but only one was showing the correct time. Which one is that? There is a spider web on the hands of the first clock, which means they haven't been moving for quite a while now. The second and the third clock seem to be working well, but they're showing different times. To figure out the correct one, take a look at the reflection of the digital clock on the mirror here. You can see the actual current time reflected in the mirror, matching the time displayed on the third clock. After shopping at the mall, Hannah noticed her purse was missing. She rushed back to the store and reported it to security. They quickly identified 3 suspects who were carrying purses that looked the same as Hannah's. The first lady said she didn't even visit the same stores as Hannah. The second lady said the purse she was holding was a fake, so it couldn't be Hannah's. And the third lady said her purse was a gift from her husband. Who's lying? The third lady's lying. Look at the credit card she's holding in her other hand. It has Hannah's name on it. Danny made it to the final stage of the private investigator examination, which was the visual perception section. He was presented with the image of this tower made of blocks and was asked to correctly identify the view from the top. Can you help him win his certificate? The tower in the image has an orange block on the top and a yellow block right below it. However, they are of equal sizes, so the yellow block won't be visible from the top, as well as the even smaller third block. Then comes a larger yellow block with a slightly larger orange at the bottom. So the correct answer is A.
Marcus is a lucky game show winner. He can choose one of 3 prizes: a brand new Mercedes, an expensive laptop, or a designer wallet. What do you think is the best choice? Comment below. Look at this Mercedes. The logo is crooked. The car must be fake. The same goes for the wallet. This logo is supposed to be written in a different way. That's what the real logo looks like. But the laptop seems to be okay. The logo is correct. So, Marcus should probably opt for this device. On a rainy evening, Megan came home and found that someone had eaten her chocolate bar. She asked her sisters whether one of them had done it. Maria said she'd been working out in her room and hadn't left it the whole day. Amelia said she would never eat someone else's chocolate. And Emma answered that she'd been outside, watering plants in the garden. She'd just come home herself. Help Megan find out the truth and share your ideas in the comments. It must be Emma. Why would she need to water plants outside if it's raining? Kayla was staying at a hotel in Paris. One day, someone broke into her room and took all her expensive stuff. The police had 3 suspects. Alan said that he had been trying to pour himself some coffee downstairs, but with his arm in a sling, it had been extremely tricky. Marie told the police that she had been at the reception trying to solve some issues with her shower. And Bruce said that he had been sleeping. Help the detectives figure out who's guilty and leave them a message in the comments. Alan broke into Kayla's room. Look at his cast. He's wearing it over his sweater. It must be fake. Detective Morton has received wedding pictures of 2 newlywed couples from a client. He knows that both couples got married on the same beach in the Maldives. It's famous for its beautiful sunsets. But one of these couples is indeed very rich, while the other is broke. For some unfathomable reason, the detective client wants to know which couple has money. If you figure it out faster than Morton and write your answer in the comments, the detective will probably have to give you his badge. The guys on the right are wearing very simple wedding suits, but they're indeed celebrating their wedding on the beach. But if you take a closer look at the couple on the left, you'll soon realize the lighting on their fancy clothes and faces doesn't match the background. Plus, you can spot a few green screen fragments at the edges of the picture. Their photo isn't real. They can't afford to go to the Maldives in real life. They're broke. Mark found himself in the middle of a forest with 3 paths in front of him. The first one was covered with burning hot coals. The second path was so cold that it felt like Antarctica under his feet. And the third path was covered with sharp nails that were able to pierce any footwear. Tell Mark in the comments which path he should choose. The guy should pick the third path. All that ice is bound to be gone soon since it's too close to hot coals. Adam was driving home late at night when he noticed he was about to run out of gas. He stopped at a gas station to fill his gas tank and buy some snacks. Inside, there was a cashier and another customer dressed in black. When Adam came up to the employee to pay, she told him $505. Adam paid, went outside, and called the police to report an emergency. If you have any idea why he did so, comment below. You probably noticed that the cash register actually showed $18.35, but the cashier said $505, which looks like SOS. Detective Brown rushed to an expensive restaurant. Someone had stolen a gold spoon there. If the detective didn't find the real culprit, the waiter would have big problems. Luckily, there were still a lot of people in the restaurant, and Detective Brown questioned the main suspects. A group of friends said they were celebrating a birthday. They wouldn't spoil their party this way. A cheerful man said he'd been walking in the area and had dropped by to check out this place. And a miserable-looking guy answered that his wife had left him and he had come to the restaurant to take his mind off his problems. You must help the detective to find the criminal. When you do, write your answer in the comments faster than the others. The second man lied. He'd said he'd been to the restaurant for the first time, but look, he's wearing a hat with the restaurant's logo. Gotcha! Adam's car broke down right in the middle of a deserted forest road. But the worst thing was that it was winter, snowdrifts were huge, and the wind was freezing cold. Adam had to get to the nearest town, and fast. But if he followed the first path, he'd have to deal with hungry wolves. The second road went through the area inhabited by bears, and if he took the third path, he'd have to cross a river covered with thin ice. You need to help the guy as fast as possible and tell him what road he should opt for in the comments. Adam should sneak through the bear's territory. These animals usually sleep in the winter. Liza was a millionaire's daughter. She was fed up with her father trying to control her life. After he told her one day he'd found a fiancé for her, she decided to run away from home. The girl knew her father would send his people to bring her back, so she never stayed in one hotel for more than one night. Once, she found herself in a small town. It was getting dark, and she had no choice but to stop at the first hotel she saw. The receptionist said that her room number was 910 and offered to show her where it was. Liza immediately grabbed her bag, ran out of the hotel, jumped in her car, and speeded away. If you can write in the comments the reason for such a weird reaction, you deserve the title of the true detective. The first digit of a hotel room number usually means the floor it's on. Room 910 is supposed to be on the 9th floor, but look at the hotel. It only has 3 floors. Young fashion designer Bruno was preparing for his first show. He was a bit anxious, so he took a break to steady his nerves. But when it was time for him to present his collection, no one could find him. In an hour, a security guard saw him in the bathroom, lying on the floor. Someone had hit him on the head. The police had 3 suspects. Maya, one of the models, said she had had problems with her dress and hadn't even had time to leave the dressing room. Catherine, one of the guests, said that she was Bruno's biggest fan and had been wearing his clothes for years. Apparently, she had no reason to hit him. Sam, the designer's assistant, said he had rushed to the nearest coffee shop to get Bruno an Americano to calm him down. Who is the culprit? Share your ideas in the comments. It was Catherine. That day, it was Bruno's first show. Then how could she be wearing his clothes for years? Richard had a collection of beautiful paintings. One day, while he was away, his favorite one got stolen. The police suspected one of Richard's neighbors. Nicole said she'd been out of town. She returned home just an hour ago and was so tired after a long drive that she immediately went to bed. Dennis said he had been getting ready to paint his house, but since it didn't seem the rain would stop anytime soon, he went to the movies instead. Julie answered that her sister had been feeling unwell. That's why Julie was busy looking after her little nephew. Take that magnifying glass of yours and tell us the truth. Who's guilty? It was Nicole. It had been raining for the whole day. If the woman had returned home just an hour before, the road under her car would be wet. Mary runs a wedding planning company. She arrives at her office early in the morning. Oh no! Someone stole the entire supply of expensive sun-dried tomatoes prepared for the upcoming party.
Oh no.
Mary closed her office at 10 p.m. last night and the snacks were right there. She calls the police. The detective identifies 3 suspects and visits their houses. The guard was on duty last night. He assumes that the thief could have sneaked into the office while he was on another floor. According to the cleaning lady, she's allergic to tomatoes, and she can't even cook them. And a hairdresser who works nearby claims that she closed her salon at 8 p.m. last night and went home right after that. Who's lying? The cleaning lady. She has a tomato plant in a pot on her windowsill, so she lied about her allergy.
Oh.
Meet Mary's two wedding planners, Holly and Dolly. Holly is super rich, while Dolly is very broke. Can you tell who is who just by looking at this picture? Take a look at the lady on the left. There's a lot of junk food in her fridge. Meanwhile, the one on the right has less food, but it's healthy and expensive. She chooses quality over quantity, so she must be Holly. And the other one is Dolly.
Oh.
Mary is scrolling her social media and comes across these two pictures. One of these families are billionaires. Can you guess who? Each member of the first family has their own Christmas stocking, and they have a nice fireplace. The second family, though, has only 2 stockings, and their fireplace is fake. So the first family is rich. Mary is looking through some photos of wedding parties. Can you tell which newlyweds are broke? The second picture depicts some silky bows and expensive snacks. So the first couple is broke. They use cheap snacks and handmade garland for their wedding party. Take a look at these 2 wedding pictures of Mary's recent clients. One of these couples is very rich. Can you guess which one? The first couple rented their outfits. That's why the sizes don't quite suit them.
Oh.
Meanwhile, the second couple's outfits are more casual, but they're neat and expensive. Mary is visiting an expensive clothing store. She witnesses the following scene. One of these customers is broke, while the other one is a millionaire. Can you tell who is who? The first guy is broke. That's why he hesitates and feels shy while asking about this expensive t-shirt. Meanwhile, the rich guy feels free to ask questions about prices because he can afford everything. But he still wants to know why it costs so much. Reasonable.
Oh my god.
Mary is having lunch at her favorite diner. At the next table, she spots 2 pretty ladies. One of them is super rich. Can you figure out who? The blonde lady has an old smartphone with 1 camera. Meanwhile, the redhead has the latest phone, so she's the rich one.
Oh, yes.
Mary leaves the diner and comes across these guys on the street. One of them is just pretending to be broke. Can you guess who? It's this guy. He's wearing an expensive smartwatch. Mary enters a supermarket. 3 pregnant women are standing in the line. Can you figure out who's super rich? The first lady is very pregnant, but she keeps on working, which probably means that she needs the money. And the third one has too many credit cards and coupons. So the second lady, who has a bunch of organic products in her cart, is the one we're looking for. Mary is walking around the city and comes across an open-air concert. One of these musicians is a secret millionaire. Any idea who? this lady? She's wearing diamonds under her simple outfit.
Oh, yeah.
Mary brings a box of chocolates to the office to treat her coworkers. The box had 57 chocolates, out of which all but 17 were eaten. How many chocolates are now in that box? To solve this mystery, we should read the question carefully. The phrase, all but 17 were eaten, means that all except 17 were eaten. Therefore, 17 chocolates remain in the box. Mary attends a luxurious wedding ceremony. She meets these two guys in the parking lot. Can you guess who is a millionaire? This guy is a taxi driver, while the second one owns a sports car. So he's a millionaire.
Ah.
Mary enters the party. She goes to the bathroom and sees two ladies applying makeup. Can you figure out whose husband is richer? The woman on the right is using fake Gucci makeup. Therefore, the one on the left must have a richer husband.
Oh my god.
Mary takes a seat next to three guys. They want to impress her and start bragging about their money. Richard has just closed a 6-figure deal, so he's planning to buy a new penthouse. Harold has just returned from a round-the-world trip. He invites Mary to join him next time. And Anthony claims that his family owns a huge corporation, so he has never worked a day in his entire life. One of them is lying. Can you guess who? Richard. He stole a golden fork from the table and hid it in the pocket of his jacket. Why would he do that if he's rich?
Oh no.
Mary gets an emergency message from the kitchen. Someone ruined the wedding cake. She goes there and interrogates 3 suspects. The chef says, I left my workplace for 5 minutes to go to the toilet. When I left, everything was fine. When I returned, disaster. The cleaning lady says, I washed all the dishes in the kitchen. I had no time to even look at the cake. And the waiter says, I was dealing with one annoying guest, so I didn't pay attention to the cake. Sorry. Who's lying? The cleaning lady said she washed all the dishes, but there are still dirty dishes in the sink. Busted! Mary is searching for a perfect location to host the next wedding party. She finds 4 available options, but only one of them is a safe deal. Can you help her make the right choice? The first restaurant looks chic and fancy, but there are cockroaches on the ceiling. Ew. According to the info box, the second location will be built in the next century, but it looks pretty ancient, so it's probably a scam.
Oh.
The fourth restaurant is nice, but it has leaking pipes.
No.
Thus, Mary should choose the third option.
Yes!
Mary goes to see the location. She explores the basement and gets lost.
Oh my god.
Mary finds herself locked in a room without windows or ceiling.
Oh god.
The room starts filling up with water pretty fast. The walls are 15 feet above the floor. But Mary can't swim. There are 3 objects in this room. A wooden barrel that is 3 feet tall, a 4-foot-high bike, and a 5-foot-long rope. Mary is 6 feet tall. Can you help her find a way to survive? She should hold on to the barrel, as it'll float. When the water rises enough, she'll be able to climb over the wall.
Okay.
The landlord offers Mary a huge discount if she cracks his riddle. A rich house and a poor house are both on fire. In which house will the police fight the fire first? Mary nailed it right away. What about you? The police don't fight fires. The firefighters do. Mary's two besties send her selfies. They're both bragging about their new expensive dresses. One of them is broke, while the other one is a millionaire. Can you guess who is who? The second lady is broke. She has a Chanel logo on her clothes, but she didn't remove the price tag. So she probably just took this picture at the store and left without buying it.
Oh.
It's been a long day. Mary's finally heading home. Suddenly, she sees these guys on the way.
Oh.
Can you spot a rich guy among them? This guy has a car.
3 wealthy businessmen complained to Detective Brooke. This week, an unknown criminal stole a car from each of them, and he left no traces. But Brooke figured out his pattern. She thinks the thief will soon commit new crimes. Mike, Colin, and Bill are at risk because they own very expensive cars. Whose car will the thief steal tonight? If you already know the answer, make sure to share it in the comments. Let's take a closer look at the order of the thefts. The colors of the cars match the colors of the rainbow: red, orange, and yellow. So Colin's green car will be the next target. Detective Brooke finds the criminal's garage and begins rummaging around. He has a secret door protected by a combination lock. There's a note with 4 images next to the door. Brooke thinks for a while, presses 4 numbers, and opens the door. What numbers did she press? If you nailed it right away, please let us know. The code is 2731. Each digit corresponds to the number of colors of the object in the picture. Brooke enters the secret room and sees 6 rings on the table. Try to memorize all the details, because you're going to need them later. Okay, now, can you find the rings that were not present in the original picture? Make sure to share your answer. Rings A, C, and F don't belong here. After a long day of work, Brooke is starving. She wants to grab something sweet, so she goes to the candy shop. Brooke has 3 options to choose from: cotton candy, a candy cane, or a candy apple. Which food is dangerous? Let us know in the comments. Take a closer look at the cotton candy. There's a tiny spider stuck inside. Yikes! As for the apple, it has a little worm inside. So Brooke should definitely buy the candy cane. Brooke is passing by the food court and spots 2 families. One of them is super rich, while the other one very broke. Can you guess who is who? Think carefully and feel free to leave your answer in the comment section below. Take a look at the second family. They don't eat this rotten food. The son is just taking pictures. Meanwhile, the first family shares 1 pizza and drinks water, which is usually free. And the mother's phone looks very outdated. Therefore, the super rich family is on the right. Brooke walks up to the diner and sees 6 different burgers in the window. Try to memorize them. You're going to need the details later. Now, let's take a look at the 9 images. Which of these burgers didn't appear in the initial picture? Give this video a thumbs up if you already know the answer. Burgers B, D, and E are all new. The next day, Detective Brooke receives a new mysterious case. Someone attacked Larry, the HR manager of a large international company. It happened about an hour ago. Brooke finds 3 suspects. The first one is Lily. She's an applicant who was a bit angry with Larry because he made her wait for ages. Lily stayed outside in the rain and probably caught a cold, but she says she didn't attack him. Kyle, the company's marketing director, attended meetings from early morning until lunchtime, so he claims he didn't see Larry at all. Jeff from the IT department tells Brooke that he rode his bike to a coffee shop to get his cappuccino. He returned just now. Who's the attacker? Hurry up to be the first to comment. Jeff. Both his bike and his clothes are dry and clean. How is that possible if it's raining? Jeff runs away. Detective Brooke starts chasing him. She ends up in a dusty basement. There are 3 tunnels leading outside. The first one is guarded by an invisible monster. This creature attacks anyone who dares to enter. The second tunnel is half flooded with poisoned water. Drinking it is fatal for any human. And the third tunnel is infested with mutant cockroaches. They can fly and bite people. Which way is more or less safe? Give this video a thumbs up if you already know the answer. She should choose the second tunnel. The water's only dangerous if you drink it, so Brooke can just walk through the tunnel with her mouth closed and be safe. The next morning, Detective Brooke enjoys a day off at the beach. Suddenly, she hears a quarrel taking place nearby. This lady claims that someone has stolen her phone. Brooke spots the thief right away. Can you spot them? This blonde lady stole her phone. She's taking selfies with her own phone, but there's another one hidden in her swimsuit. Busted! Hit the like button if you manage to crack this riddle. Brooke spots 6 parrots on a tree and takes a picture. She visits the bathroom and then returns to the same tree. Can you find the parrots that were not present in her picture? Parrots A, E, and F arrived just now. Was it difficult? Let us know in the comments. Detective Brooke receives an emergency call from work. There's a dangerous visitor from another planet hanging out at the beach. It can look like a human, so Brooke should be very careful. Can you help her spot anything suspicious? Don't forget to share your thoughts. This volleyball player has too many arms for a regular human. Detective Brooke is working on her laptop in a coffee shop. Oops, it's time to visit the bathroom. Brooke decides it's safe enough to leave her stuff unattended. But after going to the bathroom, she finds out that her backpack and her laptop are missing. Brooke runs outside and sees 3 elderly ladies with picnic baskets sitting in the park. She interrogates them, but the ladies swear they didn't notice anything suspicious. Miss Anderson has just joined her friends. Miss Smith is eating her sandwich and reading a newspaper, and Miss Gold is taking pictures of squirrels. But still, Detective Brooke arrests one of the ladies. Can you guess who? Hurry up to be the first to comment. Brooke's backpack was red, remember? There's a red strap hanging out of Miss Anderson's picnic basket. Ooh, busted. Detective Brooke comes across a poster with 6 animals: a cat, a camel, a cheetah, a chicken, a crocodile, and a pig. Which animal doesn't belong here? The pig. It's the only animal whose name doesn't start with the letter C. But if you have a different answer, let us know. Brooke receives a call from her best friend, Amanda. She suspects that her boyfriend, Will, has a secret from her. Amanda wants to access his laptop to investigate, but she doesn't know his password. Luckily, there's a hint note right on his desk. It says Apple, Man, and Dawn. Give this video a thumbs up if you crack this code. And the password is Amanda. Yep, her name is the code. Aww. Will was just preparing a surprise for Amanda's birthday. He took her on a romantic helicopter trip. But unfortunately, their vehicle broke down in the air, and they had to land on a tiny uninhabited island. The guys can't call for help. Their cell phones and radio don't work. There are no trees on the island, only sand and rocks around them, so they can't make a smoke signal. Suddenly, Amanda notices a plane circling the sky, but unfortunately, it's flying too high and the pilot can't see them. Will comes up with a bright idea, and soon after, the plane picks them up. What did they do? Think carefully and share your ideas. They use rocks to spell out SOS on the sand. The plane takes Amanda and Will to the mainland, and now they need to take a bus to get home. Only one of these 4 buses will take them to their final destination. Can you guess which one? It's the second bus. Hit the like button if you nailed it. And if you want to train your thinking on a daily basis, don't forget to subscribe.
Cora gets a new job and moves into a luxury apartment in Manhattan. Her condo has 13 floors. 5 people are living on the ground floor, and each floor has 2 more people on it compared to the previous one. Which floor calls the elevator the most? Any person who lives on a floor other than the ground floor would have to call the elevator to reach their respective floors. So, the ground floor should call the elevator way more frequently than the other floors.
Oh.
Cora meets her neighbor, Mason. He has 4 daughters, Hannah, Elle, Eve, and Anna. What pattern did he use to name them? His daughters have palindromic names. You can read them from left to right and from right to left, but they'll remain the same.
Oh.
Cora takes the elevator to the 13th floor where she lives. The elevator takes her to the desired floor. She comes out and freaks out right away. Why? Take a look at the mirror. It didn't reflect the number 13 correctly. 4 movers show up to help Cora with her boxes, but one of them is an imposter.
Hello.
Can you guess who? The third guy carries the only box that doesn't have Cora's name on it. Also, one of his arms is in a cast. He hid it under his gloves and sleeves, but Cora cannot be tricked so easily. The next day, Cora receives 4 welcome baskets from her neighbors. One of them isn't safe. Can you guess which one? The second basket looks delicious, but take a closer look. There are bugs instead of chocolate in these cookies. Yuck! Cora wants to hire a cleaner to take care of her apartment. She interviews 3 people. Sandra says she has 20 years of experience in this field. Harry is a student who needs extra money to pay his bills and buy food. And Bianca has recently moved from her parents' farm. She needs a job as soon as possible. Who's lying? Harry. Take a closer look. He's too transparent to be a real human. Ghosts don't need to pay bills and buy food. Liar.
Oh no.
There's a swimming pool on the roof of Cora's condo. She goes there and meets 3 neighbors in the shower. One of them is not from this planet. Can you guess who? The third lady is a visitor from outer space. She has 7 toes instead of 5. Also, she lacks a belly button. And it seems like the shower steam goes through her body.
Oh god.
Cora comes back home and finds out that someone stole one of her expensive paintings and replaced it with a cheap copy.
What?
How did she know? The third painting has a slightly thinner frame than the others. That's because it's a fake. Cora decides to question her neighbors. She knocks on 2 doors just next to hers. Ashley and Megan live in separate apartments just next to Cora. These 2 ladies have partners, but one of them dates 3 people at once. Can you guess who? Ashley has 3 different cakes in her fridge, so she probably had 3 different guests recently. Cora wants to find the thief who stole her painting, so she calls the police. Officers examine the crime scene and arrest 3 suspects right away. Can you tell who's guilty by just looking at this picture? The thief left footprints of sneakers on the carpet next to the paintings. Only the first suspect has the matching shoes and size.
Ah.
The next morning, Cora goes hiking in the woods, and eventually she gets lost. There are 3 routes that she can take. One has animal footprints, the second one has human footprints, and the third route is along the river. Which path is the most reliable? Cora should choose the third route. Animals might be dangerous and people are not reliable, but the river will lead her to the city or a bigger body of water with a beach. In the evening, Cora goes to the local concert hall. One of these guys is a real magician. Can you guess who? The first guy is hiding a card under his sleeve. The second one makes his card levitate with the help of teeny tiny strings. But the third magician's hat levitates on its own.
Oh.
So he's the real one. Cora is watching an opera set in ancient Egypt, so the actors are dressed in appropriate costumes. After the show, Cora goes backstage to meet them. But one of these people is not an actor.
Oh.
This person is a time traveler from the past. Can you spot the imposter? All 4 people are dressed in ancient Egyptian costumes, so we should use the method of elimination. The first guy is using a smartphone, so he's probably an actor. The second lady has a modern manicure, so let's exclude her too. The fourth lady has a sports car tattoo on her leg, so she must be from this century as well. Therefore, the third guy is a time traveler.
Ah.
Cora arrives at the condo after the opera late at night. She enters the empty lobby and suddenly hears weird sounds from the basement. Cora goes there to check and finds herself in a secret, spooky dungeon. She finds a door with a combination lock which requires a 4-letter password. There's a mirror next to the door. Someone wrote the word "live" on its surface. Cora tries to enter this word, but it doesn't work. Can you help her crack the code? The mirror is part of the clue. Cora should reflect this word, and the password is evil. Finally, Cora opens the door. She sees a secret meeting taking place in a creepy hallway. All participants are dressed in robes and masks. They catch Cora and offer her a deal. If she manages to crack their riddles, she'll become part of the club. But if not, she'll remain locked in the dungeon forever. Here's the riddle. My neighbor makes mistakes. I get rid of them. Who am I? Can you help Cora out? I'm an eraser. Cora nails it, and now she's invited to go into the Hall of Mirrors alone. Cora sees a bunch of fun reflections of herself in the weird mirrors, but suddenly she freaks out and screams. Why is that? One of the reflections doesn't belong to Cora, so she's not alone in this room. Cora enters the next room and gets trapped in a spooky, abandoned public shower. She needs to choose one of these 3 doors to get out. There's a bunch of hungry rats behind the first door. There's an unknown glowing substance behind the second door. It may or may not be toxic. And there's a firewall behind the third door. Which way is more or less safe? Cora should choose the third door. Look around. She's in the shower, remember? She can use a bucket and water to put out the fire. Now Cora needs to crack this twisted circle maze to find the way out. Can you help her? Here's the correct route. Cora enters the next room and finds herself in a huge, chic dining room. There are 3 figures in robes and masks staring at her, but one of them is just a statue. Can you guess who? The first figure is breathing deeply. The second is blinking. You can see it through the mask. So the third figure must be the statue. People in masks give Cora 3 envelopes. She can choose one of them and take what's inside as a gift. One of them contains a $100 million diamond necklace. Another one, a pair of wool socks. And the third one, $10,000 in cash. Each envelope is signed. The first one says, "Necklace isn't here." The second one says, "Necklace is here." And the third one says, "Necklace might be here." Can you help Cora make the right choice? She should ignore the writings and simply weigh the envelopes. The desired one should be much heavier than the others.
Oh, yes.
Cora gets her necklace. The secret club members take off their robes and masks and turn on the lights. Cora recognizes her neighbors. That was just a welcoming prank. But still, something is odd here. Can you guess what? The lamp levitates.
Oh my god.
Brandon was a police officer. One day, he was patrolling the streets of the small town where he lived. When he was driving past his friend's house, he saw that the front door was open. As soon as Brandon entered the hall, he spotted his friend lying on the floor. After the man was taken to a hospital, the officer went to question the neighbors. Julie said that she had been planting new fruit trees in her garden since early morning. Nathan explained that he had experienced some problems with his car. He was in the garage all day long trying to fix them. And Patrick told Brandon that a new episode of his favorite TV show had been aired, so he stayed at home to watch it. Which neighbor is lying? Nathan. His hands and gloves are spotless. It wouldn't be possible if he had indeed been repairing his car. He's lying. Several gold bullion bars were stolen from a bank. The police had a few suspects, but when they arrived at the main suspect's house, they realized they had forgotten to bring a warrant. The man told them he wasn't going to allow them to search his house without a warrant. An hour later, the police officers came back with the needed documents. They thoroughly searched the house and the garden, but didn't find the gold. Suddenly, one of the officers exclaimed that he knew where the house owner had hidden the gold. Have you figured it out too? The gold is in the swimming pool. When the police visited the man for the first time, the level of water was much lower. Jonathan's friend went to explore a mysterious castle and got lost. After hours of waiting for him, Jonathan decided to sneak into the castle and find the guy. He ended up in a large room with 3 doors. One of these doors led to a labyrinth no one had ever managed to escape from. Another door was the exit, but if Jonathan went through it, he would have to cross 3 moats to get out. And one of the doors had something Jonathan was looking for. After examining the doors, Jonathan figured out where his friend was. Can you do the same? Look at the door handles. They're all made of some shiny metal. They look kinda cool, but also make fingerprints visible. And the only door with fingerprints is the one on the left. That's where Jonathan's friend is. Maria was to take part in a very important sports competition. But a few days before the event, her boyfriend John found out that the girl had disappeared. All she left behind was a note that said, "I'm sorry, I had to leave. We'll never meet again. Please call my sister Jenny. Her phone number is 41-14-9-512." John was shocked by the message and went to the police. He claimed that Maria had been taken away against her will, and that someone had made her write the message because she was an only child in the family. The police detained 3 suspects. Maya, Maria's competitor, said she had been at her parents' house resting before the competition. Lucas, the girl's friend, told the police he had been spending all his time at the gym. And Daniel, Maria's coach, said he had been sick and stayed in bed. Who knows something about the athlete's whereabouts? In her note, the girl didn't write a phone number. She encoded the criminal's name this way. If you check which letters of the alphabet correspond to these numbers, you'll get Daniel. Airport security guards are checking the luggage of 3 suspicious passengers. One of them is a robber on the run. Can you help the guards spot anything odd and figure out which passenger is a criminal? The clown costume looks pretty innocent. It doesn't have a mask to cover the face, so it's unlikely that the person owning this suitcase is a robber. The girl shows her cash freely and openly, which probably means the money is legit. But this lady with an empty suitcase is pretty suspicious. Her suitcase probably has a double bottom, and she must be hiding something inside. Otherwise, why would she travel with an empty bag? Security at one airport noticed that one man traveled abroad at least a few times a week. They started to suspect he was a smuggler, but couldn't understand what he had been smuggling. He always had a bag or a suitcase with him, but there was never anything valuable or expensive inside. Can you figure out if the man is a smuggler? And if so, what does he smuggle? The guy was indeed a smuggler, and he smuggled designer suitcases and bags. Detective Marcel needs to find a criminal, and fast. He only knows that this person works in an office and is not actually a human, but a cyborg. Ooh. Look at these suspects and try to spot anything suspicious. That woman is the criminal Detective Marcel is looking for. Look at her neck closely. There's a USB port there. It's highly unlikely that she's a regular person. Charles opened his eyes and found himself in a dimly lit basement. He couldn't remember how he ended up there. He spotted a door in the corner. It was locked. On the wall next to the door, there were 3 buttons. On one button, there was a circle. On the second one, there was a triangle. And on the last button, a square was drawn. Charles didn't know which button would unlock the door. Luckily, he found a note with a few numbers written on it. Can you figure out which button he should press to get out of the basement? Have you noticed that clock right above the door? It's there for a reason. If you draw imaginary lines connecting 8, 12, and 4, you'll get a triangle. It means Charles should press the button with a triangle on it. Nathan came to visit his friend Zachary, who worked in a museum. He was excited because he got a priceless manuscript that had been written more than 1,000 years ago. Zachary looked through the manuscript and realized that his friend had been tricked. Does anything in this text strike you as strange? If we talk about the dates before the Common Era, they should be in reverse order. The original text would have read, King Alfred V ruled the country from 1320 to 1290 BCE. 3 famous detectives came to a cafe to discuss a tricky case. A waiter came up to them and asked, "Does everyone want coffee?" The first detective said, "I don't know." The second detective answered, "I don't know." And the third detective said, "Yes." Why did he say so? All the detectives wanted to have coffee, but the first 2 couldn't know if it would be everyone's choice. If the first 2 detectives hadn't want coffee, they'd have simply said no. So, when the third detective heard the replies of his colleagues, he realized that both of them wanted coffee. And since he was also going to have a cup, he said yes. Sarah invited her friend Alice, who was studying to become a police officer, to a party. It was organized by Sarah's friend Sean. Sarah was worried there might be a thief at this event. Throughout the evening, Alice was watching the guests attentively. At the end of the party, she told Sarah who the thief was. Have you figured it out too? It's the host, Sean. At the beginning of the party, one of his guests had a watch on his wrist, and this woman had a beautiful necklace. But at the end of the party, the watch is already on Sean's wrist, and the necklace is in that flower pot. See? When it is new, it costs little, but when it's old and used, it can be worth hundreds, thousands, or even millions. What is it? It's a canvas. It costs nothing until it becomes a painting.